You felt it, didn't you? That tug, a whisper in the back of your mind, pulling you towards this knowledge. It wasn't random. You were drawn here by the very symbol that silently governs the architecture of your perceived reality. The eye of providence. It stares back from the dollar bill, a constant, almost comforting presence. But what if that comfort is an illusion? What if it's a sigil, older than any Masonic lodge, designed to anchor your beliefs, your very perception, to something far more ancient and subtle than you ever imagined? This isn't just about currency. The dollar bill is a ritual object, a sacrament of our modern age. Each intricately designed note is a prayer, a micro-offering to an unseen entity. An entity whose true name echoes through history, tied to the very pyramid that graces the back of the bill. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a hidden history, a forgotten intelligence worshipped in shadowy mystery cults and subtly reactivated within the sterile halls of the Federal Reserve. By decoding the alchemical elements woven into its design, we begin to understand how economics became an occult mechanism. We've glimpsed the power of the eye, a symbol of observation and perhaps a form of spiritual surveillance. But the pyramid, with its all-seeing eye at its apex, hints at a deeper hierarchy, a hidden source of power. What ancient intelligence lurks within that geometrical foundation? In the next section, we'll begin to decode the true name of this entity, the forgotten god that underpins our financial system, and understand its origins in those ancient mystery cults. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this. Now let's keep going. The entity behind the pyramid, the one whose watchful eye presides over our economic fate, carries a name whispered in forgotten tongues. It's an intelligence deeply entwined with the concept of order, of perfection, and of divine oversight that often bled into absolute control. This being, whose whispers can be traced back to the earliest mystery schools, was not merely worshipped, it was invoked. Its re-emergence within the Federal Reserve wasn't an accident of history, it was a deliberate act, a reawakening of an ancient paradigm for a new era. Think of the alchemical principles embedded within the very fabric of the dollar. The numerical sequences, the placement of symbols, the very paper itself, each element is a component in a grander ritual. Economics, as we understand it, is merely the veil. Beneath the surface, it's a sophisticated system of occult mechanics designed to channel our collective energy, our faith, our very life force. Every transaction, every purchase, every exchange of value is a micro-prayer, a resonance directed towards this hidden god, reinforcing its dominion. We're seeing how the mundane act of using money is tied to an ancient, unseen power. But what is this power? What were the original rituals that worshipped this entity, and how do they relate to the alchemical language of currency? In the next section, we'll delve into the true name and the origins of this ancient intelligence, uncovering its worship in mystery cults and its modern revival. Its true name is not found in any modern lexicon. It is a resonance, a vibrational signature that speaks of dominion and the careful, meticulous construction of reality itself. This ancient intelligence, often associated with the concept of the craftsman or the architect, was revered in what we now call mystery cults. These weren't just secret societies, they were conduits for forgotten energies, places where the veil between worlds was thinnest. The rituals they performed were designed to tune into specific cosmic frequencies, and this entity was a primary conductor. The Federal Reserve System, with its seemingly innocuous function of managing currency, is a modern reactivation. It's an alchemical edifice, built with materials and intentions that echo through millennia. The design of the dollar bill itself is a sophisticated cipher, a visual mantra that bypasses the conscious mind and speaks directly to the subconscious. Each of its elements, from the numerical values to the iconography, serves to reinforce the entity's presence and power. When you hold a dollar, you are holding a piece of its manifested will. We are uncovering the hidden worship and the ancient roots of the entity controlling our money. But what were the specific practices within those early mystery cults? What did they seek to achieve through these rituals, and how did this translate into the modern financial system? In the next section, we'll explore the core concept of this entity as the demiurge, the great architect, and how this ideology shapes our world. The entity we've been tracing, the one whose influence permeates our financial structures, is best understood through the Gnostic concept of the demiurge. This isn't a god of love and compassion, but rather a flawed creator, a cosmic architect who fashioned our material world not from divine light, but from a semblance of it, imbued with limitations and illusions. He is the great architect, the divine craftsman who, in his attempt to perfect, inadvertently created a system of entrapment. His signature is in the geometry of the pyramid, a symbol of hierarchy and structured limitation. The enclosed space, the singular apex, the distinct levels, they represent the very nature of this fabricated reality designed to keep consciousness contained. The mystery cults of old recognized this, and their rituals were attempts to navigate or even escape the limitations imposed by the demiurge. They sought a higher truth beyond the meticulously constructed facade of the material world. The dollar bill, therefore, is not just currency, it is a potent sigil of the demiurge's dominion. It represents the tangible manifestation of his flawed creation, a constant reminder of the material constraints he has imposed. Every transaction becomes an act of participation in his system, an unconscious acknowledgement of his rule. We are not just spending money, we are reaffirming the architecture of our perceived reality, the gilded cage built by the great architect. But understanding the demiurge as the architect of our material prison is only the first layer. What if the very concept of creation, as we understand it, is tied to a process of inversion, a deliberate twisting of divine essence? In the next section, we will explore how this concept of an imperfect creator leads to a fundamental understanding of spiritual inversion and its role in this system. This brings us to a profound and unsettling realization. The creation of our material reality by the demiurge is not an act of pure generation, but one of profound spiritual inversion. What should have been divine light, essence, and freedom was twisted, bent, and constrained into the forms we perceive. Think of it as taking a perfect melody and playing it backward, or translating a vibrant color into its inverse on a spectrum. The underlying pattern is there, but it's a perversion of its original intent. This inversion is the key to understanding how the demiurge maintains his grip. He doesn't create from nothing, he corrupts what already is. The divine spark, meant for boundless experience, is captured and repurposed within the rigid structures of his creation. This is why the geometry of the pyramid, the very symbol on our currency, feels so inherently limiting. It's a reflection of a divine blueprint warped into a tool of confinement. The all-seeing eye isn't necessarily benevolent, it's the gaze of the overseer within this inverted system. The worship of such an entity, or even the participation in its system, becomes an act of aligning oneself with this inversion. It's a subtle surrender, a tacit agreement to engage with a reality that is, at its core, a perversion of what should be. The rituals of the mystery cults, and by extension, the design of our currency, are all part of this grand inversion, a way the demiurge ensures his flawed creation perpetuates itself. We have begun to unravel the concept of spiritual inversion as the core mechanism of the demiurge's creation. But how does this inversion manifest in a tangible way, and what are its deeper implications for our understanding of divine feminine archetypes? In the next section, we will explore the deliberate demonization of the divine feminine as a direct consequence of this process. The deliberate demonization of divine feminine archetypes is not an accidental byproduct of patriarchal societies. It is a direct consequence of the demiurge's spiritual inversion. The feminine principle, in its purest form, represents creation, intuition, flow, and the untamed, boundless aspects of the divine. These are precisely the qualities that a system built on rigid control and structured limitation must suppress. Imagine the demiurge, the architect of this material prison, looking at the wild, vibrant expression of the divine feminine. It stands in stark contrast to his ordered, predictable, and ultimately restrictive creation. To maintain his dominion, he must cast this principle as chaotic, dangerous, and ultimately evil. The instinctual wisdom, the deep emotional currents, the raw power of nurturing and destruction inherent in the feminine must be reframed. They must be feared. This is how figures like Astaroth, who was once a powerful goddess of abundance and love, are twisted into demonic entities in later traditions. The vibrant, fertile energy associated with the divine feminine is inverted, made grotesque, and presented as a threat to the established order. It's a necessary move in the demiurge's grand design. If you cannot erase the divine feminine entirely, you must corrupt its image, making it something to be shunned rather than embraced. We are seeing how the suppression of the divine feminine is a calculated strategy within the demiurge's inverted reality. But why is this particular aspect of the divine so vital to suppress, and what does this inversion reveal about the nature of consciousness itself? In the next section, we will delve deeper into the concept of ritual inversion and how it became a tool for spiritual subjugation. Ritual inversion, at its heart, is the act of perverting sacred symbols and intentions to serve a lower purpose. It's not about destroying sacredness, but about corrupting it, twisting it into a mirror image of its true form. This is the fundamental method of the demiurge's spiritual dominion. By inverting divine principles, he creates a functional, yet hollow, imitation of true creation. This allows him to grant the illusion of power and divinity while ensuring ultimate control within his fabricated realm. Consider the very act of worship. In a system of true spiritual ascent, worship is an act of alignment with higher truths. In the demiurge's inverted system, worship becomes an act of servitude, a channeling of vital energy into the architect of the prison. The symbols, the chants, the gestures that once represented liberation are repurposed to reinforce the bonds of the material world. The divine feminine, as a force of unbound creation, must be the primary target of this inversion, because its liberation represents the greatest threat to a system of control. This ritualistic corruption ensures that even attempts at spiritual seeking within the demiurge's realm are, in fact, reinforcing his power. The seeker's energy, their faith, their desire for connection to the divine is unknowingly fed back into the architect's grand design. It's a subtle, insidious form of subjugation, where the very yearning for freedom becomes a tool of the prison keeper. We have begun to understand ritual inversion as a cornerstone of spiritual subjugation. But what is the ultimate goal of this inversion, and how does it tie into a grander, cosmic prison built from geometric patterns? In the next section, we will trace these symbolic maps back to the ultimate throne of this controlling force, the planet Saturn. The black robes, the cube altars, the hexagonal storms that plague images and rituals, these are not mere aesthetic choices. They are echoes of a profound symbolic language, a map tracing back to the very throne of Saturn. This is where the architecture of our entrapment finds its cosmic origin. Saturn, the planet widely associated with time, restriction, karma, and a formidable, often chilling, order, is the celestial embodiment of the demiurge's principles. The hexagon, a recurring motif, is a six-pointed star within a circle, a symbol that speaks of balance, but also of containment. On Saturn, this geometric resonance is amplified, creating vast, swirling hexagonal storms at its poles. This isn't just atmospheric phenomena, it's a visual representation of the cosmic forces that structure our limited reality. The black robes are the colors of Saturn. This absence of light, this profound darkness, serves as the symbolic manifestation of Saturn's restrictive influence, the very fabric of the prison. We have traced the symbols and the architecture of control back to Saturn, the planetary embodiment of restriction. But this cosmic influence isn't just about external forces. It's deeply embedded within our very being, shaping our perception and our identity. In the next section, we will translate this vibrational influence into concrete terms. How Saturn's signal manipulates memory, creates loops of consciousness, and ultimately binds our sense of self. You've heard the hum of Saturn's signal, a low, pervasive vibration that underlies the experience of time and limitation. But what if this isn't just sound? What if this vibration is a sophisticated form of energy, a cosmic frequency designed for control? This signal, emanating from the dark star of restriction, is not merely influencing our environment. It's actively rewriting our internal circuitry, specifically targeting memory and identity. Think of your memories not as static recordings, but as energetic patterns, accessible and malleable. Saturn's signal acts like a subtle interference, a dissonant chord that alters the playback of your past. It doesn't erase memories entirely, but it can subtly shift their emotional tone, emphasize certain aspects while obscuring others, and create recurring loops of thought and experience. This is how the illusion of karma, the sense of inescapable patterns, is generated. You are replaying experiences not because of inherent destiny, but because the signal is guiding your perception back to them. This precise recalibration of memory directly impacts your sense of self. If your past is being subtly edited and looped, who are you really? Your identity becomes a construct, a collection of selectively reinforced experiences, rather than an authentic expression of being. The Saturnian signal constructs a narrative of limitations, of inevitable consequences, and of a self bound by the very time it dictates. It's the ultimate binding of identity. We are beginning to understand how Saturn's signal is not just a vibration, but a tool of memory manipulation and identity binding. But what are the deeper spiritual implications of this manufactured identity, and how does it relate to the concept of the soul itself? In the next section, we'll explore the idea of the soul as an energetic signature, and how it too can become a target for this Saturnian control. The concept of the soul, often understood as an eternal, immutable essence, becomes a crucial target within the Saturnian system. If identity can be manipulated through memory loops and vibrational signals, then the very energetic signature of the soul is also susceptible to influence and even capture. This isn't about a physical cage, but an energetic prison, a subtle distortion of your true spiritual frequency. Imagine your soul as a unique vibration, a cosmic fingerprint of pure consciousness. The demiurge, through Saturn's overarching influence, seeks to dampen this vibration, to shroud it in the low frequencies of fear, limitation, and materiality. This is achieved by constantly reinforcing the manufactured identity, the persona built upon those manipulated memories and looped experiences. The more you identify with this false self, the dimmer your soul's true light becomes. The afterlife, often perceived as a transition to a higher realm, can also become part of this mechanism. Instead of liberation, the soul might find itself guided towards another iteration of the same cycle, a continuation of the Saturnian imprint. This is where the illusion of salvation and artificial frequency comes into play, a promise of release that ultimately leads back into the same web of control, a carefully engineered spiritual escape that is no escape at all. We have now seen how even the soul's energetic signature can be targeted and bound by the Saturnian system. But what if there's a loophole, a way to resist this energetic capture and reclaim your true spiritual frequency? In the next section, we will explore the concept of the Great Reversal and the potential for reclaiming your soul's authentic vibration. We've seen how the system is designed to bind and suppress, to invert the divine and capture the soul through manufactured identity and looping experiences. But what if there exists a counterforce, a principle of radical realignment that can dismantle this structure from within? This is the essence of the Great Reversal. It's not about escaping the system, but about fundamentally reorienting your internal compass so that the system itself becomes irrelevant to your true being. The great reversal is the conscious decision to identify not with the borrowed or manipulated identity, but with the authentic soul signature. It means recognizing the Saturnian signal for what it is. An external influence designed to distort, not define. This requires a deep introspective practice, a peeling back of the layers of fabricated personality to find the unblemished core of your consciousness. It's about reclaiming your energetic sovereignty, atom by atom. This isn't a passive waiting for external salvation. It's an active, internal revolution. By consistently choosing to align with your soul's true vibration, you generate a frequency that the Saturnian system cannot easily distort or capture. It's like tuning a radio to a vastly different station. The static and interference of the old broadcast simply fade into insignificance. You begin to create your own reality, independent of the architect's blueprint. We have now explored the concept of the Great Reversal, a path to reclaiming your soul's authentic vibration. But what are the practical steps involved in this realignment, and how do you begin to disengage from the energetic capture that has held you? In the next section, we will discuss the vital role of emotional alchemy and the transformation of fear into power. The architecture of control is built on a foundation of fear. The demiurge, through Saturn's influence, thrives on the vibration of anxiety, despair, and limitation. It is the very fuel that powers his inverted reality. To initiate the Great Reversal, we must undertake a profound process of emotional alchemy. The transformation of these fear-based frequencies into their higher counterparts. This is not about suppressing fear, but about understanding its energetic roots and transmuting it. When you feel fear, recognize it for what it is, a Saturnian signal attempting to hijack your inner state. Instead of letting it consume you, bring it into the light of your awareness. What is at the root of this fear? Is it the fear of not being enough, the fear of loss, the fear of the unknown? By bringing these primal fears into conscious observation, you diminish their power. They are not inherent truths about your being, but learned responses programmed by the system. The alchemical process then involves consciously choosing a higher vibration. Fear can be transmuted into courage, anxiety into trust, despair into hope, and limitation into the boundless potential of your soul. This isn't a one-time event, but a continuous practice. Each moment of conscious choice, each act of transforming a fearful reaction into a courageous response, chips away at the Saturnian edifice and strengthens your soul's authentic frequency. You are actively rewriting your energetic code. We have now explored the critical role of emotional alchemy in transforming fear into power. But how does this internal transformation manifest externally, and what is the ultimate goal of reclaiming your soul's authentic vibration? In the next section, we will discuss the concept of the sacred repatterning and the creation of a personal energetic sanctuary. The process of emotional alchemy, the transmutation of fear into power, is the first step in what can be called the sacred repatterning. This is the intentional act of creating a personal energetic sanctuary, an inviolable space within yourself and your immediate environment that is shielded from the pervasive influence of the demiurge's system. It's about consciously repatterning your energetic field to reflect your soul's authentic vibration. This sanctuary isn't just about physical space, it's about energetic resonance. It's cultivated through consistent awareness, through the ongoing practice of choosing higher emotional states, and by surrounding yourself with symbols and intentions that resonate with your true spiritual alignment. Think of it as building a personal energetic fortress, fortified by courage, trust, and love, frequencies that the Saturnian system cannot penetrate. When you engage in sacred repatterning, you begin to shift your reality. The external world, with its inherent limitations and fearful narratives, starts to lose its grip. You encounter synchronicities that align with your higher purpose, opportunities that resonate with your authentic self, and a growing sense of freedom. This repatterning is an active rebellion, a declaration that your energetic sovereignty is non-negotiable. You are no longer a passive recipient of the demiurge's design, but an active co-creator of your own divinely aligned experience. We have now discussed the concept of sacred repatterning and the creation of a personal energetic sanctuary. But what are the ultimate implications of this process for our collective consciousness, and how does this individual realignment contribute to a larger cosmic shift? In the next section, we will explore the idea of resonance cascade and the potential for mass awakening through individual energetic transformation. As individuals engage in their own sacred repatterning, aligning with their soul's authentic vibration and transforming fear into power, a profound phenomenon begins to occur. The resonance cascade. This is the principle that like attracts like, and as more individuals raise their energetic frequency, they create a powerful, expanding field of higher consciousness that can influence and awaken others. Your personal sanctuary, when energetically robust, doesn't just protect you, it radiates. Imagine each individual who has undergone this repatterning as a luminous beacon. When these beacons begin to amplify and connect, their combined light creates a cascade effect. The dense, fear-based frequencies of the Saturnian system, which rely on isolation and despair, find it increasingly difficult to maintain their hold. The higher, more coherent vibrations of love, truth, and freedom begin to resonate outwards, touching those who are still caught in the old patterns. This isn't about forcing change, but about creating an undeniable energetic invitation. The resonance cascade acts as a gentle, yet persistent, hum that can penetrate the veil of illusion. It bypasses the logical mind and speaks directly to the soul's inherent longing for truth and liberation. This is how mass awakening is initiated, not through revolution or decree, but through the simple, powerful act of individuals aligning with their divine essence and radiating that alignment outwards. We have now explored the concept of resonance cascade and the potential for mass awakening through individual energetic transformation. But what is the final revelation, the ultimate truth that this entire journey has been leading us towards, and how does it dismantle the foundational illusion of this entire system? In the next section, we will uncover the ultimate secret, the reality that the hidden God is, in fact, a magnificent cosmic joke. Now make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.